Okay, so far we just discussed about one like text input component, right? Text output component as well as submit button. And also we just discussed how do we display data from a Vivo, a simple query. Now, what shall we do is like there are a couple of items which we need to understand how do we create as well as how do we handle the event. Okay. So the first item was text input, which we know already, but we'll try to again learn it. And then the hyperlink, then the list of value, then the pop list and image. Okay. So what we do is we'll try to design a page to understand how do we handle these items and how do we get the value of those items. Okay. So then once we know how do we handle it, once we understand how to use them, then what we can do is we can use these particular functionalities in the respective pages accordingly.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll start with, okay, so shall we use the TCS application or which one you want to use?
Anything is fine.
And let me use the TCS only.
Yeah, TCS.
Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll just create a new page. I'll say events sample page. Okay. We'll try to catch up all events in this one. Or else we require, we can create one more page.
Okay.
Okay, what we do is we'll again review what we have created earlier, right, during our greeting page, right? We'll try to use a similar one. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just create a new region. Under this region, I'll create one text input, and again I'll create one more text input. And on the region one, again I'll perform right click and create a new item. And by default, like whenever you create any new item or region, right? If it is a region, it will create it as region style as header. If it is item, it will create it as message text input. But later on we can change the item styles. Like once you create it, later on, you can just change it to appropriate one. So I want to make it as submit button. Okay. I'll say add. I just want to add two numbers. Okay. Add. And this is first item. Another one is second item. Okay. Or you can name it appropriately, like item A, like this. Enter value A. Item B. Enter value B. Okay. On the main region, now perform right click on set new controller. Now mention. Yeah.
No, you finished this. I missed that add thing, item A, item B, and then add. It's that a button?
Yes, it's a button. I just changed the
Okay.
item ID of that button.
Okay, got it. Yeah, proceed.
Okay. Oh, okay. This name is wrong. Let me rename it. Right click. And do you see any refactor? Rename. I want to name it as Sivo. Okay, this is how we can rename. Okay, and it got renamed, but just observe carefully whether is it referring to the correct page or not. If you observe here, can you see it is still referring to a wrong controller. When you rename some of the places, it will not affect. You have to carefully again change it properly. So here we have to sample Sivo. Okay. And we can run it first of all. Let's see how it looks like, and then we change it. Okay, this is how it looks like. And now what we do, go to process form request, and here the event sample CO. Here, click on process form request. Now we are inside this particular process form request. Now we have to handle the button. So how do we handle the button? If condition, write page context dot. So here, if you observe, right, I'm not writing full. I'm just writing a partial and then pressing Control space bar. So it is automatically giving me option. I'll select the appropriate one by selecting enter. Page context again dot. I'll just type get p and then Control space bar. Automatically remaining thing will come for me. And if you just type it also, right? Can you see it is getting changed? Just type it and then you can select the appropriate one. Then double quotes, then not equal to null. So here within the double quotes, we have to mention the button ID. So if your button name is add, you mention this item ID you have to mention, button ID you have to mention. If the button name is something different, you just write it accordingly. That's it. Now, how do we retrieve a value from the text input component? For that, what we do, I'll just say string. First of all these items, right, generally they give string value. So I prefer item A str is equal to, again, page context only. Page context, again, get parameter, same logic. Here we just need to mention item A, that's it.
Okay.
For button also same thing, for item also same thing. Item A. This will have item A value. And similarly, for item B, what I'll do, I just copy pasted and then I simply change the variable name here. This is my variable name. This is like a variable declaration.
Yeah.
Okay. And here I'll just say item B. That's it. Now we got the values. Yeah.
One question. So when you say get parameter add not equal to null, what does that mean? Like when you clicked it or not? Is that
Right. So by default, what will happen is, see, first of all, we have to understand this is a controller. It is having two methods. Each method is having two parameters. One is page context and another one is web bean. So page context, the name itself is telling that page context. It means that this is a class. In that class, you have a lot number of methods or nothing but this class holds the total contextual information of your page. Nothing but which component is having value, which particular item you clicked on it. All the information will be available in the page context. Whenever you click on any of the buttons, at any point of time, a page can handle only one event, isn't it? If you have 10 buttons also, as a user, you can click only one button at a time.
Yes.
So this page context will have that particular information. If at all, if you click on a button, this page context or get parameter will return a not null value, non-null value. If you don't click it right, it will return a null. If you click it, it will return not null value. So that's the reason we simply check not equal to null. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, and you can also print the value of that. Let us say what I'll do is value of add button. Okay, I'll just try to print it. And also I'll try to create one more dummy button to understand what is the value of this add button. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say dummy button prompt dummy. And here we will try to have value of add button before if or okay, value of add button. That's it. This should be fine. And here,
can we print the dummy button value? I mean, there won't be anything in this.
yeah, let it be. We'll understand now. I'll just run the page. Okay, now before that, just clear the log. Right click here, right click on this text area and clear. Then all the log will be cleared. Whatever the SOP statements, right? This is similar to your print, what do you call? Output DBMS output line statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I'll do is here initially I'll just simply click on dummy button. And what is the value of add button now? Null.
Yeah.
In the text, what it is printing here? Value of add button null. And I'll simply now I will click on add. Can you see? Now it is not null.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, got it.
So it's not an empty string. That's it. That's the only difference. It will not even have any value, but it is not null. That's it.
You created the dummy button Not in the region, right? It's
after that. Doesn't matter, right? It can be in the
okay.
region or across the page also.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now I'll say okay, converting a string is a little bit different. So we have to convert a string to integer, right? So I'll say int int is equal to like this. Okay. What I'm doing is
Mm,
I'm converting a string to integer. Int is equal to integer dot parseInt item a str. Similarly for b also,
mm,
bint is equal to integer dot parseInt item b str. Okay. You're simply converting a string to integer. There are a number of ways. This is one of the very simple way. Int c is equal to aint plus bint.
okay.
Okay. And then we'll just try to print on the page. What you do is now let us see if I want to throw something on the page, right? You just need to write a logic called throw new
Mm,
OA exception,
mm,
and then you can just press Alt Enter. It is asking whether you want to import. Yes, I want to import the class package. Then only I can use the class.
mm. Okay.
Sum of two numbers is comma c comma OA exception dot information. In this you have different types like error warning, exception. I mean error warning information. Three types.
Mhm.
Okay. Now we can just run it. I'll say 10, 15, add, right? 25. Got it?
Mm,
Now let us say I will not give any value and try to click on add. Can you see? It is
mm.
giving a null pointer exception.
Yeah.
It is giving a null pointer number input string kind of exception. Why it is giving? Because this particular class, right? Integer dot parseInt. So if item A string is empty, then like this integer dot parseInt will give a runtime exception. So in these kind
No.
of scenarios, what we have to do is we just need to make sure that assign the value, and then
Mm,
we just need to have if conditions like if item A str is not equal to null, and if it is
mhm,
not empty also. If it is not empty also, it's a little bit different logic here we have to consider.
mm. So to show this scenario, you declared them as a text in. Oh, we have only message text input. We don't have any number field like we can enter 10 directly without converting to integer in the backend.
See, this page context dot get parameter returns an object. This page context, see, you have this component called item, text input item. The return
Mm.
value of this particular one is a object.
Yeah.
It is not
Yeah.
a simple data type. It will return an object. So we cannot assign a value of that to a simple variable. You have to convert that object to a string. That object, which is a string, from string to
Oh,
integer, we have to convert.
okay.
You try to assign, it may give error. So temp is equal. Can you see?
Yeah.
It's giving an error, right? It's saying that we cannot assign. And you can
Yeah.
also understand what is the return type of this get parameter. Just press Control, mouse
Mm,
left click. It goes to that particular class definition and it says what is the return value of this. Get parameter is returning string. So
mm.
definitely you have to assign to a string.
Yeah.
That is not even
Mm,
an object. It is string. Object is a generic class. The string is
mm,
a specified class. That's the difference.
mm.
So in
Okay.
these kind of scenarios, what you have to do is you get the value, and if the value is not null and if the value is not empty, then only try to convert it. Else don't convert it. That's the
Okay.
logic you have to write. Now what I've done, I just initialize with value with 0. And then if
Mm,
it is not equal to null and if it is not empty string, then only you convert it. Why I'm checking not equal to null and empty? Because these particular strings, right? Generally they will be they may not be empty, but they can they may not be null, but that can be empty also. We can try to understand those logic here carefully. Because when we found that particular add button, right? In one scenario, it was null. In the other scenario, it was just empty.
Yeah.
Little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the reason I am checking here, not empty string also.
Okay.
Okay. The same way you have to check here also. Then we'll not get that null pointer exception. That's only logic.
Mhm.
That's it. And now you can try to print the value, then you'll understand what I'm referring.
Need to give the in the if condition item B string.
Yeah, you can print here, right? Item A string value is equal to.
Yeah,
Get it.
in the below if condition,
Mhm.
uh,
Oh,
B
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. Got it.
item B string.
It should be B. Yeah. System, yeah, item str value is equal to plus item
Mhm.
str. And similarly, you can write for item B also.
Mhm.
Okay. This particular concept is very, very important. These
Mhm.
like it seems like very simple, but these are the things which you use in your real-time programming.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll just clear the log first of all,
Mhm.
and I'll try to click on add button. Okay. And now can you see they are not
Yeah.
null. They're just simply empty. Even though I have not entered the value, it is empty.
Oh, they're not
Got it?
saying not.
Yeah.
Okay, got
Now if you click on dummy button, it's there. Like the add button value is null.
it.
So we
Mhm.
have to be very careful. We have to check both conditions, like a better check not equal to null as well as not equal to empty condition also. That's the
Okay.
easiest way to be on safer side.
Mhm.
12 plus 0, 12.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's it. So this is how we can handle the different kind of exceptions.
got it.
Okay. Now, other very simple logic is like how do we handle a hyperlink? I'll
Mhm.
create one more region.
Mhm.
Okay, one more region. And in that region, I'll say, I will name it as hyperlink region. Under this region, I'll create new item and I will name it as link. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll say Google link ID. Okay, and simply here, what I'll do is I'll just mention, and here target frame, I'll mention underscore blank, nothing but new window. And the destination URI, I'll say https:/google.com. Okay, now this is a website link, but if you want to navigate or if you want to invoke another OAF page, right?
Mhm.
What do we do, right? So first of all, I need that destination page. So to get that, I'll just run one of my OAF page. I'm just running the hello world page to get the address of this OAF page.
Mhm.
Okay,
It's a Java.
what happened?
No, hello world, it doesn't show as page. It's a Java file.
Oh, sorry. No, it's not a page, right? We just created one temporary class, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm just running the other one. Few details.
Mhm.
Okay. Now just make a note of this page.
Oh, okay.
You don't require all of them. What you require is you don't require this session ID also. OA.jsp question mark page is equal to the page details. You don't require any other dynamic those particular
Okay.
IDs. This is an OAF page link. Now what we
Okay.
do, we'll go to our event sample page, and in the region we'll create a new item. I'll say link, and it's simply destination URI. Just mention this one. OA.jsp is equal to so and so,
Okay.
and I'll say PO details OAF page.
Okay.
Now let's run it and see how it looks like. Okay. Now let's start the first one. Okay. Now it navigated to another window where the website name is google.com. Of course, it is not opening because internet is not enabled in this instant.
Okay.
Next one, let's try the other one. And if you see right, in the address we just mentioned OA.jsp, but if you observe carefully, it is just typecasting, like it is prefixing the total your instance URL slash OHTML slash and then OA.jsp. If you see in the status bar, the below
Um,
status bar in the browser,
yeah. 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 Yeah.
right? Just click on
Oh,
this, it has to navigate to the PO details. That's it.
oh.
You can click on back and right.
Mm.
So we can just this is how we navigate. As of now, we are not passing parameters, but later on we'll see how do we pass parameters also. As of now, we are just simply calling another OAF page from other OAF page.
Passing
Okay.
parameters to another OAF page, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. As
Okay.
of now, we just simply handle the hyperlink logic.
Mhm.
Okay. So we have another component like LOV populist, little bit complicated one, LOV and populist. And then image
Mhm.
is okay. So image will handle first and then we'll discuss LOV and populist.
Sure.
Okay. And this I'll name it as hyperlink region. Then I'll say new image region image. So under this, I'll just create two items. Like you can just do a copy paste also. Control C, Control V, Control V. Like this also you can do.
Okay.
And change the item style to image.
Mm.
And here I'll say update icon ID. But where do I get the IDs, right? Where do I get the icons? Any guess?
OA media,
Yeah,
there is
right, right.
mm,
In the OHTML from the OA media, we can get it.
mm,
My HTML, OHTML. Okay, this is not the correct one, right? So we are referring to the OAF patch.
yeah, OAF patch.
Okay, here you can see all of them.
Mm.
Just use the thumbnails and you can see them.
Okay.
Let's say you want to have a delete, like delete dustbin icon. I'll just use this one.
Mhm.
And you require extension also. Yeah, I think, yeah, you have extension, file extension. I'll copy this, copy the image. I'll name it as delete icon first.
Mhm.
And here just simply on the image URI, just mention that. Image URI, you just mention that. No, it is not copied properly. Let me copy.
Mhm. Delete icon.
And the other one is, maybe I'll use one more icon. Okay, something authorization. Okay, 2 should be fine. And now we have 2 icons. First of all, let us see how do they get displayed in the page. It does not need to give the full path of it because these are generated by default and they'll be available by default. Okay. So when you deploy the page also, it does not need to worry about the images because they will be available in the instance by default. They are Oracle provided icons, right? We could see 2 icons. Now let us say, how do I differentiate which icon I'm clicking? Now I have 2 icons. One is authorization, other one is delete. How do I know which icon I'm clicking on? So to handle the button, we have seen how do we handle it? Like a simply use a page context get parameter. But for these icons, right, that is not the way. Little bit different we have it, but of course we have that logic. The logic is on the client action. So you just click on the particular component, property inspector, action type, click on fire action, and here in the event, you just mention delete. It's a user defined event name. Okay, you can mention any value here, but make sure that you mention understandable value so that you can easily understand what you're working on. One is delete event, I'll name it as. Other one, again, click on the item, scroll down to the client action, action type, change it to fire action. By default, it will assign some value, but you have to remove that and change it to some other value. I'll say authorize event. Okay, this is my new event name. But how do you handle the event? So to handle the event, right, in the process form request, after super.process form request method, you just write one more string variable, name it as event name str is equal to page context dot get parameter. And here you just mention a value called event underscore param. This is a global defined variable. This event param will have the information about the event name at runtime. Whenever you click on event name, this event parameter will have that specific value. By default, it may have null. We can also print the value of that value of event. Okay. Event name str. Okay. Now what we do, we'll just have one more if condition. Or events. If event name str is not equal to null and sorry, oh, how did I do it? Yeah, and not equals dot event name. Okay, and what is the value we are expecting? Let us say if it is a delete event, you just try to compare this way, like having a value with a variable. If delete dot equals event name str, then it means you have clicked on delete event. Okay.
So we cannot do event name str equal
We
to
can do
delete.
it, but the safer side. We can do it that way. Safer side of
Oh,
writing a program. Because let us say, assume that worst case your if condition, like assume that you missed if condition, you can write like this, direct if condition. You can, this first if condition is not required if you write the second if condition like this. This is of no use actually, because we are already taking care here explicitly, because I'm trying to compare having a value with not having a value. Okay. User clicked on delete event. And similarly,
So even it is null with that if condition, it will not throw any exception.
yes. Now, other if condition, what you do? You can just write the other one, authorize event. We'll say user clicked on authorize event. Here you can write else if, but it's okay, not a problem. Okay, now let's try. We'll clear the log. Click on the delete icon. It says user clicked on delete event, but it's showing it as error. We'll understand why it's doing like that. Now I'll click on this icon and it says user clicked on authorize event. Now I'll just click on dummy button and see what is the value of this event. The event value is empty, not null. The event
Yeah.
value is empty. That is the reason always it is safer side to compare null as well as not null. I mean
Okay.
null as well as not empty.
Mm.
Got it?
Yes.
And here why it is showing it as error because this OA exception is an overloaded method. It has lot number of methods with different type of parameters. If you don't
Mm.
pass any second parameter, it assumes that that is an exception. If you want to make display it as information, you can just mention it as OA dot exception dot information. If you want to display it as warning, you can mention warning like this. Okay.
Mm.
So this is how we can handle the image event. Generally in most of the pages, you always use this particular image events for the purpose of like updating a row, pencil icons, or delete icons,
Mm.
right? Those scenarios you generally use these kind of events
So
mostly.
if there are any custom logos or something, can we place in the OA media and
Yes, that's how
into?
we do it. Yes, that's how we do
Okay.
it. Yes.
Mm. Okay.
Now it shows it as delete event and it's a warning.
Then,
Okay. So this is how we can handle the event. As of now, we are discussing only independent components. Later on, we'll be working with designing some kind of a business oriented
yeah.
pages. In that, we'll try to use these individual components.
Okay.
Okay. See, what I'll do is now, like, we'll stop here because this LOV and pop list is a little bit time consuming task. Okay. Better we'll
Yeah.
discuss in the next session so that by that time you can practice the earlier
Sure. Yeah.
topics also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.